Ladies and gentlemen, I have 5:30. If you will please take your seats. Before we start, if you just bow your head in a moment of silence. Amen. I want to welcome everybody to the Town Forum. It's an opportunity for the Montreat people or anyone to ask questions of the commissioners, and we'll have an answer for you promptly, or we'll get you one if we don't have the answer right at the fingertips. So the floor is now open for any public comment or questions. Y'all can come up together if you want to.
Letta Jean Taylor, 386 Oklahoma Road. I have a suggestion. The stop signs you took away from Oklahoma and Appalachian, I'd like to suggest you put those at the corner of Georgia and Assembly. That crosswalk is kind of in a dark place and at the crest of a hill, and I've seen a lot of people in that crosswalk and cars coming very quickly. Georgia and Assembly. Okay. They're at the post office.
Yes, ma'am.
Where people roll through that stop sign. Where's Justin? And the other thing is the cell tower on South Carolina is supposed to be camouflaged according to the ordinance, and it's not very camouflaged anymore. I don't know where that stands at this point. And I have one question about the budget. Can you please explain to me what the ad valorem tax revaluation drop is, what that means?
Letta Jean, we're nowhere close because of the state legislature.
No,
we have no tax rate set yet.
Well, I'm just asking what the tax revaluation drop means. I'm not asking for anything. I don't know what that phrase means.
The tax.
Where do you see that phrase, Letta Jean?
125.
Thank you.
I know the budget's out of control at the moment, but I just didn't understand what that phrase meant.
I'm not sure what that phrase is meant to mean either, and I can't find the page that you're on, but thank you. Rachel, can you help me, please? I don't see it, Letta Jean. I'm so sorry.
This is water.
The water rate increases. Okay. Ad valorem.
Oh. So,
Ad valorem tax drop, what does that mean?
so that means that I was instructed to drop the tax rate on this edition of the budget.
Okay, thank you. Got it, thank you.
Next. Thanks, Letta Jean.
Mary Standard, 118 Shenandoah Terrace. And I want to reiterate what Letta Jean said about the state of the cell tower. That has come up before, and it would be over the years multiple times. And so it would be great to have that looked at some point in time. But my specific question tonight that I'd like some answers or some clarification has to do with the sanitation contract that's out there. And so I'd like a little bit of clarification, would be very helpful. And this is packet page 96, if you guys want to bring it up on your computers, or anybody in the audience who wants to bring it back. But specifically, I have concerns with the exclusion of the backdoor service.
There is backdoor service. It's in the contract with
So,
them,
Mary,
right?
let me
It does
clarify.
not say that anywhere, but
No.
I'm asking for clarification.
You're right. It does not say that. And these are just responses to our RFP, our request for proposals. So if the board chooses to move forward from this point, we would begin negotiations with either of these companies to get an actual contract in place. And that contract would include, or we would not move forward, backdoor pickup for our residents.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that, because that's not what it physically says
You're right.
here.
And both of the proposals are lacking.
And I didn't see a second proposal. Did I miss it?
There are two. One is from Consolidated Waste Services,
Okay.
and one is from a company called Mid-South.
And that's in the packet
It
as
is in
well.
the
I just,
packet.
maybe they weren't in. And then, so that, as you know, backdoor service, given our population demographics and the steep slopes. So I wanted that clarified.
Mary, that second proposal is on page 117.
Okay, I will take a look at that closer. And I would also like some clarification. I just don't understand the verbiage on what Town of Montreat residents are expected to have, specifically under clarifications on page 96. Basically, all Town of Montreat residents will utilize 65-gallon rolling carts or similar for acceptable single-stream recycling curbside pickup. And then the second is proposal assumes that solid waste will only be collected from participants utilizing only rigid waste containers, 32-gallon max, or plastic bags appropriately tied off and not exceeding 35 pounds in weight, curbside pickup. I don't really understand what that means.
That's right. And that's what I meant when I mentioned that the proposals were lacking, because obviously that is not in line with the sanitation ordinance that we just
Correct.
passed. So that would have to be part of a contract negotiation where we clarify people are going to be using bear-resistant containers. They might be cemented into the ground. And both of these companies should know, because I've had personal conversations with them both, that this trash has to be handled by hand because we don't have the ability to use a truck with an articulating arm.
Okay,
So-
I just wanted clarification.
And this is just a jumping off
from you.
point. So this will not make anything permanent tonight. This will just be a green light to move forward into contract negotiations.
And quite frankly, I haven't reread the agenda, but I know in the first agenda packet, it said the action was to approve or deny the contract tonight. That was what, I don't know what it reads on tonight's
Yes, and I
agenda.
think-
It said, it didn't say a delay or to talk, but it
Sure.
said specifically accept or deny. So I'm fine, we don't have to go any further. I just wanted to get those things clarified in my mind, the issues with the sanitation ordinance, people being conflicted about what to do. And one thing about people in Montreat, we want to follow rules. We like to follow rules. We just do. But the rules have to be understandable and
Yes.
consistent. So thank you about the
Thank you,
backdoor
Mary.
pickup, and trash pick and brush pickup is included
So
somewhere on the way.
the town of Montreat, our employees would still be doing the leaf pickup and the brush pickup ourselves.
Okay.
That would not fall to the contractors.
Well, thank you for the clarification on the backdoor pickup, and some of my friends who depend on that will be very glad to hear
Yes,
that. Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Mary. Next. There's no one wants to speak to the town forum. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn until a regular meeting at 6 o'clock.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Widmer. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Alexander. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. We stand adjourned until 6 o'clock.
It's going to be perfect on that golf.
What color is your golf cart?
Just that color. It's red. It's got some red and white.
That's great. That's
That
great.
is
Well,
how
and
simple and how beautiful.
yeah, and I just bought a dozen Uncle Sam hats for the family
Oh,
because we'll be walking.
Where'd you get them? Is it Amazon?
Amazon. Yeah.
You know what? They would be.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have 6 o'clock. So if everyone would take a moment, please stand. Let's face the flag and say together the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing just a moment. There it is, in a moment of silence before we start. Thank you.
That is so cute.
Commissioners, we got a lengthy agenda tonight, so let's get started. I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. I have a motion. Commissioner Blake, I have a second.
Second?
I have a second from Commissioner Alexander. Any discussion or comments? All those in favor of the motion to adopt the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. It's going to be quite a meeting tonight. Like I said, the agenda is lengthy. That's what happens when you don't meet in May and you put everything to June. It's sort of a bottleneck. But we've got a lot to do. The budget's going to be adopted later. I mean, we're going to talk about it tonight, but we're not going to adopt a budget tonight. And Savannah will explain why when we get there. The one thing I need is I need a ride for the 4th of July. My normal ride for the parade is not coming through this year. It won't be in town. So if anybody knows of somebody who has a convertible or a nice truck that I can ride in the back of, let me know. I would appreciate it. Savannah, would you go over the consent agenda and your other communication?
I will. So on our consent agenda tonight, we have meeting minutes adoptions. Those are the April 9th, 2026 public forum meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes from the same date, the April 10th, 2026 budget workshop meeting minutes, the May 1st, 2026 sign subcommittee Board of Commissioners joint workshop meeting minutes, and the May 8th, 2026 budget workshop meeting minutes. And that's the consent agenda. I don't have too much tonight, but I thought I would share a very brief FEMA update, which is that things are still going well. All of our projects are moving slowly. We're down to a lot of the administrative work that's being done on the large projects just take more time because of the cost of the projects. We did receive a reimbursement today of $24,328, and that was for administrative expenses. Typically, that's called Category Z in FEMA speak. Typically, that category does not open until you're done with everything, but because of the size and scope of this disaster, they went ahead and let us open up Category Z, and we can now submit for administrative expenses quarterly, which is great news.
Deal.
Thank you, Savannah.
Can I ask a couple questions about FEMA? You say the projects are moving slowly, but they're moving, which is always good. How many open projects are there now?
So open in the sense that they are not obligated or just open in general?
Both.
So open in general, I don't know, but many, because there's a lot of work that we haven't yet completed yet. So I don't have that number exactly. Projects that have not yet been obligated, I think is 4.
4?
4. Yeah.
And the others have been obligated?
The others have been obligated but are not, either not complete or not closed out yet.
And how about the pedestrian bridges, Arbor Lane as well as Texas Road?
Those are part of the projects that have not yet been obligated. I believe those are on with the CRC right now.
Thank you.
Any other questions to Savannah on that? Commissioners, you've received all the department reports for both April and May. Are there any questions on any of those reports that were included in the packet? Hearing none, the floor is open for public comment.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you just for a minute about the Chestnut Tree Project, and thank you to Commissioner Blake for putting this item on the agenda. I certainly have no expectations that the town council should be involved in every tree that gets planted in Montreat, but I do think this particular situation is a little unique given the location of where these trees are being proposed. We have no problem with the chestnut trees themselves, by the way. We did at the beginning. We were concerned, given the size that they could be, they could grow to, and the sticky seed pods, the spiky seed pods that they can generate. Daniel Wiggs did a great job of setting our mind at ease about that and explaining what that is. So we don't really have a problem with the trees themselves. It's more about who's going to manage and maintain the trees and the surrounding property. We live, I'm sorry, I should have said that. We live at 118 Virginia Road. My grandparents built the house back in the mid-60s, and the house is still in the family. And this house, ever since, for 60 years, this land behind our house, which is a right-of-way that was originally set out to extend Quillen Road around to Virginia Road, it's just been managed and maintained by the neighbors. There's been gardens, there's been dump heaps, there's been fire pits, there's been people taking down dead trees so they don't fall on their house. It's been managed by the neighbors. So if the town is wanting to put some chestnut trees there, we just like to understand how that access is going to, occur. By the way, this one particular plot of land I'm talking about, the only public access to it is really through a thicket of trees. So, you can't get heavy equipment out there without going through homeowners' yards, which, this is Montreat. Nobody's going to have a problem with that, I don't think, but we just like to understand how that's going to be managed and how that's going to be maintained.
Okay. Having never been here before, during the public forum, we'll answer questions. During a regular meeting, it's a chance for the community to observe us conducting town business. So if you'll make sure that the town clerk has your name and Savannah has your name, we will get back and get you an answer.
Well, Mayor, so I have spoken to the Dunbars about this, and do you mind me just sharing with them our
please, go ahead.
conversation?
Please, yeah.
So I believe that the Dunbars plan to pursue a right-of-way closure for that area, and essentially, and don't let me put words in your mouth. So I think essentially are wondering really if the town council is going to move forward with the chestnut tree planting right now, or if they are going to wait to see if this right-of-way closure goes through. I think it's more of timeline and concerns. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I wasn't going to bring up the right-of-way closure since that wasn't the actual agenda item, but thank you, Savannah.
I guess we'll discuss it more once the agenda item comes up, but I think that he's just trying to convey his concerns about all of those issues.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Floor is still open for public comment. Anyone? Letta Jean?
Letta Jean Taylor, 386 Oklahoma Road. I'd like to add to your dates to remember, July 6th to July 17th are the filing dates for 3 commission seats in Montreat.
July 6th through 13th, I believe.
17.
17th, I'm sorry. Anyone else? Any other public comment? Okay, we'll move on with the agenda then. No old business, new business, oath of office for Chief Justin Whitson. If you'll repeat after me. I, Justin Whitson,
I, Justin Whitson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or that I will be alert and vigilant
that I will be alert and vigilant
to enforce the criminal laws of the state,
to enforce the criminal laws of the state,
that I will not be influenced in any manner
that I will not be influenced in any manner
on account of persons' bias or prejudice,
on account of personal bias or prejudice,
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge, go ahead,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and execute the duties of my office
and execute the duties of my office
as a law enforcement officer
as a law enforcement officer
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and skills and judgment.
and skills and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay. Justin, I'm going to give you your badge, and that's your badge to wear in pride and serve the people of Montreat. And let me tell you this, you've lost your first name. You will be now Chief. Everybody's going to say, hey, Chief, instead of, hey, Justin. You don't have to call him Chief. Okay? Thank you so much, Justin. We're so proud and happy to have you. Next item on the agenda under new business is the Flat Creek Crossing update. Gene Norris and Eric Nichols.
Good evening.
Good
We
evening.
have a PowerPoint and,
Where are you from?
192 Mississippi Road, Flat Creek Crossing Steering Committee.
Eric Nichols, 527 Sewanee Drive, Montreat, North Carolina, Outback Mountain.
All right, we have a PowerPoint which we'll be going through, and we're also giving you copies of those slides. And they're mostly exactly what we're going to say. Okay. So we've got the names of our local steering committee up there, and the last name on that list is April Carter, the landscape designer. I'm not sure whether she's with us or online with us. I hope so.
And I have to say that I am only up here to hand out and to be arm candy for Jean, so she won't be nervous.
Eye candy. You're just eye candy.
Arm candy, eye candy.
Okay, so let's see. That didn't work. Well, I want to. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. All right, I'm not sure what did it. Okay, so we were given 10 minutes. We're going to try to do this in 10 minutes. And here's our roadmap. We want to give you some information on design updates since Helene, a little information on our donations and funding status, a little information on the construction status, the grant status before Helene and since Helene, next steps and invitations. Okay, so the next slide didn't do it. There, okay. All right, everything on this page, whoop, what happened? We're going backwards, not forwards. Come on.
That's what I
And-
have.
Yeah. Apparently we are not quite enough in the same room.
There we are.
Okay, all right. Everything on this, one more forward. Nope.
I thought that was it, the last one.
You've got your packet in front of you. Just go to page 3.
They're numbered at bottom right.
Okay. Everything on that page 3 is stuff that was part of the original design as we put it together for Flat Creek Crossing. When accessible park funding became available, it became Flat Creek Crossing Accessible Park as opposed to trail because we didn't have enough trail to make it a trail. Things are mostly the same on the left-hand side. Stormwater management, sensory garden, welcome area, the educational and digital resources piece, nobody else wants to fund, so we've been doing our own fundraising. Now, what has changed since Helene is that the paved path to the water, which is still 300 feet long, will be somewhat narrower because there's less bank over there. And it will have somewhat different paving, we think. At least we're looking into alternative paving that might better withstand high water events, of which we've already had one out there, and they'll happen again. We are going to be stabilizing the bank above and below the trail as in the original proposal, except we're putting in more rock wall out there. Because what we're trying to build for is 25 years of durability, because that's required in the grants, and it's good building. The picnic area, there's less land there, so it will be somewhat reduced, and we're now thinking that we will extend the trail paving into the picnic area to make that more durable as well. The good news about this is that we think that we have sufficient funding in hand to finish that original park design and to continue with the part that nobody else wants to pay for, which is what can you get to when you hit the QR code on the website that explains why you're there and what you might see and so forth. We don't know that for sure because prices are all different now, but there was some built into our grants and we think we're okay. All right, so fundraising, that's our next slide, yes. We currently have a mailing list of 276 people, and it's growing. We have 149 plus donations on record, and that's from 91 giving units, and they're from Montreat people and Summer people, and people who live in the area, and church donations and foundations and Montreat cottagers. And we also have a pledge ready to receive of $50,000 toward not the original design, but the replacement of the downed footbridge. Okay.
When you say that, it's a promise of future funding. You've requested that?
It has been promised to us.
Okay.
And when we have a way to receive it, we'll have it.
It's securities
Understand.
coming into the account that you will set up forthwith.
I'm for that.
Okay, so funding status today. We have raised $102,000 non-grant funds. That has been mostly from donations. It's also been a smaller amount from sales of art prints and cards and donations from the sale of antique postcards, courtesy of Mary Standard, and a couple little cash jars at events. We have spent money on 2 site surveys because we needed a new one after Helene, design renderings, public relations and fundraising events, printed materials, and a few signs that were mandatory along the way for the site. Our net in hand is $81,000 in working capital with which to continue the original project. And grant funding, of course, we had to have it and we went after it. So before Helene, we got the Pigeon River Fund from Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. That was for bank stabilization. We have spent those funds. If you've been down to the site, you can see progress. We are now working on the Accessible Parks Grant, which was a carve-out from Part F funds with some special provisions for accessibility. Made it a bigger proposal. That requires that we do durable construction. We have to promise that whatever we're building stays available for 25 years to the public and that it'll last that long and that we'll maintain it. And the budget for that included some cost of living, some allowance for inflation, and some contingency. We're in a scarcity pricing mode. We think we're okay. We won't know for sure until all of the expenses hit. Our first quarterly reimbursement request has gone in for $50,000. Because of the special terms of the Accessible Parks funding, we expect to get back 80%, which is very generous as grants go, and that will be $40,000 back to add to our $81,000 of operating funds. Okay, now we've got some pictures. You can see the stone wall on the left-hand side, which is not finished yet, but it's going in above the trail. What you don't see here is all of the coir fabric that's going in below the trail to hold the creek bank. So this is evidence that our construction is underway. Then on the right-hand side, if you look closely, you'll see in those shadows, this is a piece of creek bank outside of the original park boundary. It is above the picnic area and below the emergency repair that was done to shore up that bit of trail that fell away in the memorial garden. And it is still raw and it is still eroding. There are tree roots dangling. There's a tree that's about to fall over. We've got a new slide at each end of it. When I look at that, I think danger, liability, and risk to the park that we're trying to build. So to me, that's urgent, and that was definitely not in the scope of our original project. So with things like that in mind, and yet another opportunity to get funding from Parks and Rec, we said we can't let that money go by. It's for Helene recovery, and we're going to need some. Our original thought was that maybe it could augment our original design. But as we went out and looked at and we came to the council and said, okay, we want to make this proposal. We're not completely sure what its contents will be. We'll do the best we can. And you all said, go for it. We did. We walked the site with Barry and with April Carter, the designer, and we looked at the overhanging bank and the loss of bank on the other side, and the fact that there's a bridge down and we don't even have a place to put a bridge back if there isn't some repair work done. And so we thought through what were the terms of this grant, and we wrote a proposal. And that proposal, by the time we were done, using estimates that Barry had from work that had been done elsewhere in town, came to $614,548. And the terms of this grant are like other part of grants in that it's 50% reimbursement. We could account for $10,000 of that reimbursement, but we couldn't get the rest of the way. So what's in that proposal is expanded creek bank area because of the changes from Helene, both the slide that I showed you and shoring up the other side, fencing the maintenance complex. And that's for two reasons. We don't have enough bank left there to think that we can plant it successfully, and we'd have to rebuild it before we can plant it anyway, and to secure the town maintenance complex. This fund is interested in resiliency. And our greatest point of resiliency after Helene and ongoing is the ability of our town staff to work their equipment from that building. So it needs to be secured. And we need the view screened for the beauty of the future park. So fencing is our best option. That's what's in the proposal. Preparation for replacing the bridge to go wider and accessible when it comes. We need engineering for the landings, and we need engineering for the bridge itself, and we certainly didn't already have that in hand. All right, so that proposal includes all of that. It does not include the actual cost of the bridge itself, because we didn't have an estimate, we couldn't put it in there. we won the grant. We won $307,000, 300, read the number.
$307,274.28.
Okay, and all that we could account for when we turned that grant in was $10,000 for plants, which is promised through the tree board from the local branch of National Wildlife Federation. When the people reviewing the grant saw that, one of them said, "Oh, I love to see that." That line probably helped us a lot. Now, what we intend to do is continue seeking contributions. We already have the pledge of $50,000 toward the bridge. We intend to continue grant writing, and no FEMA funds were requested for these pieces. So FEMA is still an option. We are not only allowed, we are encouraged to seek FEMA funding. And I have no idea whether that could be forthcoming, but it might be. So that's where we stand. Our next steps are to...
May I ask a question on that previous slide?
Oh, sure.
Our version of the slide says town to match 297,274, which I guess is that $10,000 difference
Yep,
of the
that's
plants
it.
that you already have. Who is the town? Is that the town of Montreat?
That is Town of Montreat. Yep. The grant is to the Town of Montreat. The proposal went in over the mayor's signature with the understanding that this is what the proposal says, and the mayor has to sign if we accept the grant, or the grant.
So what this is saying is the town, if signed, is committing to nearly $300,000
Yeah,
of town funds.
stretched over 3 years from the date of signing. And we hope those will not be town funds, and our fundraising success has been pretty good. We think they're probably not ultimately going to be town funds, but that is what signing a contract means in the strictest interpretation.
We can't move out forward without sending it in under the mayor's signature.
So that's where we are. So our next steps are continue working through the summer on the original park, in coordination with town staff and MRA around events so that we don't have equipment in there when people need to be there. We'll continue quarterly invoicing. We'll get our partial reimbursements back of 80%. We really, really want the town to accept this contract because that was a lot of work and that's a lot of money and we don't want to waste it. And we will continue once we have that go ahead on bridge design. We'll continue to work on fencing and expanded creek bank work as we can. And we'll continue our public outreach and fundraising, and we'll continue the design work on the things that you're going to be able to get to from the QR code. And we will continue to seek funding for the bridge and additional amenities. And that means crossing the creek and putting another picnic table on the other side, so we'll seek future funding for that, to make it a bigger park, and to connect it to Elizabeth's Path. So, we have some invitations. Visit the site with one of us on the steering committee, and we'll wave our hands about what's done and what's to come. And I can tell you it's not pretty yet, but it will be beautiful. Tell your friends and neighbors about it, especially if they might want to donate. Please approve signing of the Helene Recovery Grant contract. Watch for chances to attend informational events, grant award announcements, sweat equity work days, and we are hoping to hold a Flat Creek Crossing update with lemonade on July 5th at the site. One of the things that we're running into is that people like Wheeler Grading are very, very busy. We believe we will have enough Wheeler Grading work done to make that site safe enough to walk by then. We won't know for sure just yet. We'll let you know if it changes.
And I'd like to add, if the 3-year period does not obligate the town to put up 1/3 of that each year, it can be all at the beginning, in the middle, at the end. It's just an obligation in case. Questions?
Are we taking action on this, or are we just discussing?
So we can discuss it or take action on it if you'd like to have some time to think about next steps. We can put it on for the July agenda. I can get you a copy of the contract so you all can review it. I do have that draft. It's really up to you from here.
I'd just soon look at it in July, give us a chance to read the contract and so forth. Does that suit everyone else? Okay.
Yeah, so it sounds like what you're asking the town to do is essentially guarantee the nearly 300,000, the 297, is that?
Yep.
Because if you come up short with your fundraising, the town will have to find those funds.
But I would urge you to think again about what we've accomplished.
Oh,
Up
no,
to this
no doubt.
point,
I'm
we
just
have-
trying to understand.
We have a lot of firepower, and we'll be coming to you for money.
You already are.
Yeah, we already are. It
Jane?
would have been lovely if we had known that we had matching funds from other grants and so forth already. The timeline on this grant was way too quick. The requirements for writing this grant were much easier than other grants have been. They wanted the money out there. They still want the money out there. They were willing to fund us based on what we submitted. So yes, we're asking for you to back us up with a guarantee, if need be.
Thank you.
Item C on the agenda is the fire district resolution. Savannah?
Yes, sir. This formally joins the town of Montreat into Buncombe County's Unified Fire District. That fire district rate will be 11.96 cents per 100 of assessed value in their fiscal year 27 budget. And there are a couple of technical corrections that need to be made to this contract. There are various typos and misnumberings. And I'm not going to throw Brandon under the bus. I get to throw the county attorney under the bus for those because he prepared this contract. So we will ask him to make those technical corrections and then move forward if you all decide to approve this resolution.
Discussion, commissioners? Or comments? But we won't be paying the Black Mountain Fire Department anymore.
So the way we do it right now is that we already pay fire district tax, but we remit our portion of the tax directly to Black Mountain in exchange for them obviously providing our fire services. We'll continue to do that. We will continue to remit our portion of the tax to Black Mountain Fire Department.
But
Is- Yeah.
It is going up. And the thing with the Unified Fire District, for some, we're in the East Buncombe District. We were one of the lower paying districts. Other districts were much higher, so I think they were trying to come to something, a mean, but it does go up for us.
Okay. That will be addressed in the budget as far as having the funds to be able to do that.
Well, it doesn't impact our budget because Buncombe County both collects the tax
Collects it
for us
directly,
and
yeah.
remits it to Black Mountain.
Oh, it's so nice of them.
So it would be on property owners' tax bills.
Okay.
it's a 12% increase over what we're currently paying.
What are we currently paying?
1069.1069 per 100.
Okay. So 10.5 to what?
Just comparatively speaking, our ad valorem is, for the town is 0.43, and this is 0.1069. The county is 0.54, so.
And just, a reminder that we did try to pursue another avenue by asking Black Mountain if they would be interested in a direct contract with us, and they said no.
Okay. Do I hear any further discussion or a motion?
I move that we, with the errors corrected in the contract, approve the contract for the Unified Fire Protection District and Ambulance.
I have a motion from Commissioner Whitmer. Do we have a second?
Second?
I have a second from Commissioner Alexander. Any further discussion and/or comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Item D is discussion of establishing a brokerage account. Commissioner Blake.
Yes, as Eric mentioned, we have a proposed donation to the town of appreciated securities, and the town needs to have a securities account with a brokerage firm in order to receive a gift of securities. We have received one in the past. Savannah was able to get a local charitable institution to sort of take it for us. They said, we'll do it once, we really don't want to do it again. It's easy enough to set it up. Eric and I actually both went to Edward Jones here in town and met with them, and they will set up an account at no cost to us and whatsoever. And that account will allow us to accept just appreciate securities and then sell them through that account at a very small fee. And what that does, for those of you who are not tax sensitive, gifts of appreciated securities gives a tax advantage to the giver. They do not have to pay the gain on the securities, so it's a real tax benefit rather than selling the securities and giving money. And the town actually receives more money. If there was a 30% tax rate, they had a $100,000 securities, and there was $30,000 for the gain, they'd only net 70. By giving us securities, we get all $100,000 plus the 2%. So it's a win-win for everybody. This is at no cost for the city whatsoever.
Questions of Commissioner Blake? Do we have a motion?
I just have a couple comments. I'm 110% behind this. I agree. We ran into this before, and thanks to Savannah's work, we were able to get around a way. I just have a couple of nitpicky things in the contract itself. And I brought this up to Savannah earlier. In the third whereas, and I just lost it. The resolution on page 71 of the packet. In the third whereas, it says establishing a brokerage account with Edward Jones Investments or another, there's a typo there, qualified financial institution. Yet down below it says that establishment of one or more brokerage accounts with a reputable and properly registered brokerage firm. I just don't think that's not impartial by including Edward Jones Investments in the third whereas. I think if we simply said establishing a brokerage account with a qualified financial institution, and then that's covered. That's covering the item in section 1. Okay. The other thing is that again, just nitpicking. In the second whereas, the town council desires to establish a brokerage account for the purpose of accepting gifts of securities. Absolutely. But under purpose of account, section 2, later on that page, it says a brokerage account shall be used solely for the investment and management of town funds. It doesn't say anything about acceptance of gifts or funds. Okay. Good work on that.
Okay, we have a resolution before us. To have a motion to adopt the resolution with the proposed changes.
I move that we accept that proposal with the changes.
Okay. I have a motion from Commissioner Widmer, second from Commissioner Blake. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes carry. Resolution is passed with those changes. Item E is discussion of a possible action of Carter PC contract engineering engagement letter, excuse me.
Yes, so these are our auditors. Dave, I think that they've done a great job for us in the past, and they work well with Rachel and myself. We would like to continue working with them. This contract would be a $1,650 increase over their, thank you, sorry. So this new contract would be a $1,650 increase over their contract last year for a total of $32,850 for auditing services. And I know Commissioner Widmer had raised a concern about something in their contract which states that they guarantee to have it in by December 31st, 2026. And is concerned that that does not leave time for the town to present it to the audit committee and then also to present it to town council. So he asked that I make the request of Carter that they back that timeline up a bit so that we have it in hand earlier. And I can certainly try to do that. And then I can either bring it back to you or you all can approve it, knowing that I will try to make the change and see what they say. However you want to handle it.
What's the pleasure of the commissioners?
Well, I just reiterate, it's due to the state on December 31, and they are saying that they won't get it to us any later than December 31. It gives the audit committee, it gives the council no time to do the audit, and I just don't think that contract is acceptable.
Savannah, Rachel, when did we get it last year? Rachel's
Do you remember
looking.
when we got the audit last year, when we had it in hand?
Hugh, I know we were pushing it.
Yeah.
It was later than we would have liked it to be.
It was in December, though. It was turned in by December 31st.
Yeah. We did not get an extension. It was not late, but we were a little rushed getting it through audit committee and town council.
When did y'all see it, Hugh? Do you remember?
It seems like we had to have a special meeting to make it all work, but we made it work.
When would you like to see it, Savannah?
That is true. You did have a special meeting. I think ideally, at least a month ahead of time, I think would be great. I also don't know that they will obligate themselves to that. I don't know what their willingness to do that will be. But I do think a month would give us enough time to schedule an audit committee meeting and then to have it at the council meeting.
Is it imperative we pass it tonight?
I don't think so. I
Okay,
think we can talk to them
I would
first.
suggest to the commissioners that we just go back to them, see if they'll change the date. If they will, fine. If not, then we'll move on. Okay, item F, appointment of Kathy Putnam as an ex officio member of the Stonebridge Advisory Committee.
Yes,
Savannah?
so we would like to add Kathy Putnam as an ex officio member to give us advice and guidance on landscaping. And just as an aside, the Stone Bridges Committee is going so well. It's under the leadership of Beth Casper, who's doing an excellent job. And even though we haven't really begun fundraising yet, funds are already flowing in. So I'm really encouraged about that project. And Kathy has agreed to help us out with landscaping advice and guidance.
Do we have a motion?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to second what Savannah because this committee is going pretty fast. Nancy Thomas and already Kathy has devoted a lot of time. They're not the only two volunteers. There's several other volunteers that have put in a lot of time. Savannah is attending the meetings and also Barry has really contributed. This is going to be a really tremendous project for all of you.
Great. Any other comments? All in favor of the motion and second signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Item G is discussion and approval of solid waste and recycling.
So, as we have already discussed a little bit this evening, both of these proposals have issues, and I want to be very clear that if you all choose to move forward with one of these companies or the other, you are not committing yourselves to anything. There will still be contract negotiations, and you would still need to approve a contract at the end of the day before anything was formalized. So I don't have much more to say on that. I'll leave it to your discussion, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have.
I would like to change the suggested motion to move to approve and deny selection of a contract signing with one of the two companies to be, ratified or finalized.
Be something like a motion to authorize the town manager and the town attorney to pursue contract negotiations with fill in the blank.
I have a motion to that effect. Anybody say so move?
I'll move that, but we also want to select, are you asking the commission to select the contractor as well?
You would need to select the contractor, and then I would also, if you have any feedback, I would be eager to hear it. Both on,
It's my understanding that Barry is very much in favor of moving the sanitation collection from individual households to a private contract, based on everything else they've got to do, particularly in light of everything with FEMA and all of that is added to their plate, that they're over the top. And I think we need to recognize that. And this is one way that he believes that we can relieve that pressure and also deliver good service to the town residents. And so I think we need to consider that. I also think we need to consider that there's a part of this sanitation collection that's important to public safety too. And you know that there's a bear in the room, not an elephant. Sanitation and bears go together. If we have good sanitation collection at all aspects, it will help our bear problem. I'm going to solve it, but it will help. And that therefore improve public safety. And so I think that bringing in a private contractor may or may not. We need to analyze the contract and what they're obligated to do and all of that stuff. But I think it just makes sanitation collection all the more serious. And so I'd like Barry, if he's got, ask Barry if we could, what his opinions are of the contractors, and if he has any favorite contractor that he thinks he would be able to work with the best.
you up for some mic time, Barry? Can you tell them about the compactors as well?
Just putting this out there, I did meet with both vendors. We had lengthy discussions. We went to multiple backdoor sites all around town. Showed them the best and I showed them the worst. The steepest driveways, the places where they were going to earn it. They seemed to have no trouble. They were going to treat it as a regular pickup. The can situation, I showed them every can we had, just about it, every style. No problem. That's stuff that we will have to negotiate, have them put in their contract. The one big difference that I saw was the recycle pickup. One was every other week, the other one was weekly. And as far as working with one of the contractors, I have personally worked with CWS since we began in 2004. And they have been very well to work with. Anytime I've called or had an issue with a compactor broken down or just anything with a pickup, they've been pretty quick, reasonable in response time to making corrections or helping us out in situations. But yeah, that's kind of who I would like to lean toward, if it's possible. And Savannah was wanting me to mention the compactor side upgrade that's in the CIP. If we choose to not go this route with the vendor picking up the trash, we will have to push that CIP project off because it goes hand in hand. What we're seeing is the pickups, the hauls. We're jumping substantially, like serious money in the amount of hauls that we're having to take out of here. And I'm kind of hoping that with the vendor taking the household trash, the picked up trash, to the transfer station or the landfill, that frees up that compactor. And that compactor will essentially move over and be converted to where the residents can go into the convenience center, operate it safely, and we can compact the trash. We can hold more trash. That's 2 hauls. Right now, we're hauling 4, 5, 6 hauls, 6 dumpsters. So I'm wanting to cut us down to 2 dumpsters and drastically cut our haul bill is what I'm aiming for. So if we don't do the vendor, we need to push off the upgrade for another year or 2.
Okay, so your recommendation is we have Savannah, you and Savannah negotiate with CWS?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I would just like to comment on another thing that I think is important with this sanitation action is the companies have liability. And the way that we have to operate with almost everybody involved, I question whether we as a town have enough liability to collect trash.
It's a good thought.
Now, let me ask you, we talked a little bit about budget-wise, what's the difference between keeping it in-house versus moving to one of these vendors? Some degree of contracts are not completely clear to me now, and don't address it. That's just part of what we've got to boil down because we've just got responses to RFPs. So, but in any event, your feeling is that, if I understand it, that the ultimate cost with all the different pieces involved are roughly the same, or that it's not going to be substantially less to keep it in-house? Because if you look at some of the budget numbers, it looks like it may be $50,000 less if we keep it in-house. But that's just me looking at it from 30,000 square feet. There's a lot of other moving parts, and you're basically saying it's roughly the same.
It will be more expensive to go with the vendor than it would be keeping it in-house. After we removed the compactors from the CIP, we did budget as if we were going to continue managing it, and the total cost for the sanitation department would be $269,058. So either way, trash is going to be very expensive. What is not budgeted in the sanitation department right now would be an additional employee, and I don't know if you all would have the appetite for that if we did not go with a vendor. But I think that would be something that realistically we would need to look at, because they're just at the point where it's either time to outsource something or have additional staff support.
Okay.
So either way, trash is going to be expensive, but yes, I believe that it would work out to be less expensive to keep it in-house.
Well, whatever we do now, if we authorize them to, negotiate, move forward with CWS negotiation, it doesn't mean we've signed a contract with them or made a firm decision to, so we sort of first know exactly what we're going to get if we make a decision to go with an outside contractor. So to that end, and get a firm idea of just everything that will be involved if we choose to outsource it, I would move that we authorize staff to move forward in the negotiations with CWS for a contract to take over our individual trash collection.
Second?
Yeah, I have a motion. Go ahead. Go ahead for discussion.
I second.
Yes, I've just been really troubled by this. I fully understand Barry's notion and why he wants to do this. And I do wish and hope that we can do it. I think that getting into this negotiation that the motion suggests is premature. There are a lot of other issues related to the budget, and all of this stuff is interwoven. And to negotiate a contract for this, when we don't know what the rest of the picture looks like, I think is just premature. Now, maybe negotiate is the wrong word. Maybe it is to have discussion of clarification of issues. As Mary brought up on page 96 of CWS's contract, they talk about 65-gallon rolling carts, and they talk about 32-gallon max waste containers, rigid waste containers. They don't talk about BRCs. They don't talk about permanent BRCs. That could be part of that discussion. But I think to negotiate a contract is premature. One last thing, and this is typical Tom Widmer. CWS did a wonderful job with their proposal. They did such a good job. They even told us about all the equipment they own and the equipment that was going to be used right here in Montreat. Well, I looked up the models of the garbage trucks of the two. One is a Freightliner and the other is a Mack. And I looked them up, and it's easy to go online and look up the specifications. Those trucks, at a minimum, are 9.5 feet wide. And our road with parking on both sides doesn't have 9.5 feet of clearance. So I just, that's what was nice about the other proposal, even though it had some problems. They were going to use smaller trucks and then offload down here and not have big trucks. So, it's that kind of stuff, guys.
Well, and I understand what you're saying, Tom. We've got a lot of moving parts, but the one good thing I can just tell you from my experience doing a lot of contracts is that contracts force people to get down to the details and as to exactly what kind of trucks and to think them through. And I don't know that we'll have it all by the time we need to finalize the budget. I'm not sure at all, but I don't think it hurts to negotiate a contract. I'm not necessarily saying we should execute a contract, but I think my honest experience is when you're talking contract, the discussions get more pointed, more exact, because people realize when they start to put things down on paper, they're going to have to live with them. And so I think it's a good exercise. I'm not sure how much of it we're going to be able to get done in the next 2 weeks with staff running around with a budget anyway.
I think it would be a push to have a well thought out and drafted contract back to you before at the July Town Council meeting. I think it's probably more realistic to assume we would be looking at August. So if you want to reframe it as contract discussion versus negotiation, that's fine, or, but something to give us the green light just to get the ball rolling so we can get into the minutia with one of these companies would be helpful, but we can also put that off to July if you all would rather have a budget passed before we move forward with any type of discussion.
Would you like to change your motion then to discussion?
We could make it discussion, but I don't know the difference between that and negotiation. The point is, we got draft documents circulating, because that's what brings everything to a head. I don't know if you have had the same experience, Brandon, but contracts flush out the hard issues.
I agree with Commissioner Blake.
Okay.
But we'll say discussion, but understanding that, and I understand what Tom's saying, and
giving them a head nod, we're giving CWS a head nod, saying, yeah, let's talk. So, that brings things a little closer.
yeah, that does, no question.
Okay, have a motion. Do I have a second for discussions? Already, who? Jane?
Hardy.
Okay. Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Okay, town budget. That's the next item on the agenda. But, and I've asked Savannah to explain to everyone before we start, the turmoil we've been through with this budget. You start out with a budget and you've got reevaluation by the county, which raises the value of your property, which automatically, if we keep the tax rate the same, your taxes go up appreciably. So in us trying to lower the actual millage rate in Montreat, we're trying to be able to fund the town in the amount that we need to operate, but at the same time not burden the people. So we're balancing two things. One hand is, do we give staff everything they need? And on the other hand, do we burden the town folks with all the things that inflation is eating us up on right now and the cost of Helene? So with that, the state legislature got involved. And Savannah, explain all that if you would.
Yes, so there was, it was a bill in the North Carolina State Senate, it's Senate Bill 889, which would freeze assessed property value for a year until 2027. So that bill has now passed the House, the North Carolina House, and is on its way to Governor Stein's desk. And so there's that piece of it. Well, in the meantime, another bill has been introduced to the House, and that is House Bill, I believe it's 474, which would exempt Helene-impacted counties from Senate Bill 889. So there are two outstanding pieces of legislation that are just really complicating this budget. It's very unclear at this point what's going to happen. And then there are also just some more work to be done on the budget regardless of where we land with either of those pieces of legislation. So it's my recommendation tonight to tap the brakes on the budget. If you all want to have some discussion about it, I think that's great, but definitely recommending that we take no action tonight, that we schedule a special meeting for a later date. We will have another public hearing at that time, and then move forward with adoption of the budget when we have all of the relevant information.
Helps to know where we're going. And I didn't see the state change the deadline for having a budget adopted. Of course not. Has to be adopted by the end of June, right?
It's by July.
Commissioners, it's up to you if you want to talk a little bit about the budget, or if you want to just skip over it and wait till our special meeting. That's up to you. Okay. All right. Budget ordinance and fee schedule pending.
So
Savannah?
that's more on the budget. That would have actually adopted our budget ordinance for the upcoming fiscal year, so we're not going to do that at this time. But Mayor, did you want to open the floor up to public comment for folks who may have come
Sure.
to speak specifically about the budget?
Anybody want to talk about the budget? You're about like us, we don't know what we're talking about because we just don't have any real direction. Okay, we'll move on. How about the budget amendment? Can we do that? Okay.
All right, and I also want to thank the commissioners for their patience this budget season. I know that it has been a very challenging one. It's certainly been challenging for me. But I also really want to thank Rachel, who I think has prepared now 6 separate budgets and has done a really wonderful job and has been very, she has not let any of this extra stress get to her, which I really appreciate. So she's done a wonderful job, and I just want to acknowledge her for that.
We'll also have a fee schedule sheet to look at.
Yes, you will.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so the budget amendment,
15.
Budget amendment 15, let me get there. Sorry, I can't find my page. Thank you. Okay, so Budget Amendment 15 would be to include the donations that were raised by Montreat Trivia Night into the public buildings budget. As you all have seen, there's been some landscaping happening outside of Town Hall, and those donations will be used to pay for that landscaping, and so we're just adding that money to the budget so that we can actually spend it. So that's Budget Amendment 15.
I have a motion from the commissioners.
Absolutely. I move that we pass that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments? Thanks to those people who set that up, though. That's Maggie Elliott and her crew who set that up.
Jan Sweetenberg.
Jan Sweetenberg, Maggie Elliott, and Kitty Fouché.
Yeah, and
Yes.
Kitty Fouché. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Budget amendment number 16.
So budget amendment number 16 is to create a budget for Fund 40, which will be for the Stone Bridges project, and then it would move all of the donated funds that we have received for Stone Bridges so far to that budget, and that total is $102,250.
Have a motion.
Move approval?
Motion from Commissioner Blake. We have a second.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Widmer. Discussion or comments?
I'm just curious, do you know how many donations that is that made up 102,250? That's substantial.
I believe that is that four or five donations? Not many donors, but good substantial donations.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Budget amendment number 17. Savannah?
So this is just mostly a housekeeping item. We are moving some money from governing body to sanitation to cover shortages in contracted dumpster services, and then also to transfer available funds from governing body, police, public works, and planning and zoning to administration to pay for some outstanding attorney's fees. And it's just end of the year fun where we're short on some and have a little extra in others.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Blake. We have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Alexander seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Discussion of the chestnut tree project. Savannah?
I'm going to rely on Commissioner Blake to help me with this a little bit since he sits on tree board and I do not attend those meetings. But the tree board has been able to have some seedlings donated, is that correct, from the American Chestnut
Well,
Foundation?
let me give you the background. And Elizabeth, you'll make sure. Just as background, as Mr. Dunbar indicated, this was a piece of property that formerly was a community garden of sorts. A number of different householders used it. The tree board, probably this time last year, actually talked about reinvigorating the community garden, perhaps making recommendations to the council to get it fixed up and to, because the people that had actively used it had moved, and so it was falling into disrepair or non-use. And we talked about it, looked at forming community garden, decided ultimately we thought, well, it might be a little bit of too much of an imposition on the neighbors, and decided instead let's look at seeing if the Chestnut Foundation might be able to make some use of it for its experimental plantings. And so we contacted the Chestnut Foundation. A whole group of them came out to meet with us, and this is over a 4 or 5 month period. They went out and they made studies because they don't just plant them anywhere. They really need to be. They've got their various research goals, and it actually did fit into their research goals in particular because it's got a lot of sunny area, and so they accepted our offer and to make that property available, some of that property available to plant chestnuts. And they came up with an actual plan. The plan is to plant 3 small chestnut trees, this high.
Like the ones that they did before.
Yes. And they're in an area that I believe is underneath some guy wires or something. It's in an area that's not near any of the homes, and so we had a meeting to that, and the Dunbars and another couple came and they objected to those trees being planted there. They objected to them because for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons was because their grandchildren might get the fruit of the chestnut, is spiny, and their grandchildren might step on that. They also complained that they would ultimately, 50 years from now, I guess, block their view of the mountains. We tried to explain that will, or we had Daniel, I believe, somebody there tried to explain that, look, those chestnut fruits are all going to be picked up. These are just 3 small trees that you are just, they're not going to be 100-foot chestnuts ever. They'll never grow past 20 feet high. And these fruits they are going to collect because they're going to study the seeds. There's just 3 of these trees. And so the tree board listened to the Dunbars. They listened to an adjoining couple that also were very vociferous in their objection to the project. The tree board approved the project, but because the Dunbars and the other couple were so strenuous in their objection, we felt like it might be appropriate to have the matter come before the commission. And we at that time weren't sure whether the tree board could approve that planting or not without the commission's approval. We since researched that, and we actually do not need, Elizabeth, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't need the commission's approval. The tree board can approve the agreement by itself. And I've learned tonight from Mr. Dunbar that they apparently no longer object to the chestnut trees. So I don't know that we need to really hear this, but the commission needs to know that the tree board is very anxious to do this project because we believe it can be a very, very helpful project for the chestnut issue that the tree board is very involved with, along with the hemlock issue, and that the Chestnut Society national, this is the national society, not the local, is behind this testing, and the tree board supports it, and we do not think it will cause any disruption or problem for the neighbors. And is anything else, Elizabeth, we need to add?
Is that the American Chestnut Foundation?
Any questions of Commissioner Blake or comments? Okay, I guess a decision is not necessary, and we will decide in the future what to do, right, as it progresses.
Are we needing a decision tonight, or?
There's no decision.
Okay.
The tree board will approve the project. The Dunbars, just so in the interim, unbeknownst to me until just a couple of days ago, apparently have decided to file an application to abandon all of the right-of-way, I guess in favor of them. And so we'll take up that matter at such time as that abandonment position comes up.
Well, I've got public comment coming up right now. If you want to make a public comment, floor is open for public comment.
Apparently my timing wasn't very good before. So yes, Commissioner Blake, you're right. Daniel did explain everything. We came to the tree board looking for information, and Daniel provided that. He did a great job of explaining that they weren't going to be 100-foot trees, and they weren't going to put these awful seedlings all over. So we felt better about that. As I stated before, our concern really is the care and feeding of these trees and how the access is and who's going to manage it, who's going to maintain it.
Tell me, who removed all the fence and plants and everything from that community garden?
So as I said before, for 60 years, the neighbors have managed all the right-of-way property.
Who removed it? Who removed it?
So we got there.
You removed it?
Well,
Did you ask the city for permission to remove it
No,
from town property? You didn't?
No.
Okay.
So the town, for 60 years, people have put gardens back there. They've cut down trees that were threatening their homes. They've planted fire pits. The town has not had any interest in managing this right-of-way property. So we continued that vein of managing it ourselves. It got to be unsightly, a snake pit, as one of the other neighbors.
You knew it was town property and you didn't ask permission of the town?
That's right.
That's right. Okay.
So our concern really is, going forward, if the town wants to manage and maintain that, let's have a discussion about that rather than changing a model that's been in place for 60 years and now the town wants to be a part of it. Okay, but let's have a discussion about it. That's all.
We'll have it at the tree board meeting. If you're talking about a model, we're just planting 3 small trees this high to save a species.
Mm-hmm. And we're just asking how the access to that land is going to happen, who's going to manage it, if they need
I think we'll talk about that at a tree board meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good deal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm so sorry. We need to make a change to the motion that we did on budget amendment number 17. I'm sorry about that. Because the bills that we are moving this money for have not been pre-audited, if the motion could state that you are authorizing us for the payment of the bills and approval of the budget amendment, that would be great. And I'm sorry that was not included in the motion that we put.
Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Widmer, second from Commissioner Blake. Again, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Floor is still open for public comment. Yes, Mary.
Mary Standard, 118 Shenandoah Terrace. And I just want to thank the commission. You've got a lot of heavy issues to address, and I want to appreciate the care and concern that you have. And I don't envy you sitting on that side. It's a lot easier on this side. But again, thank you, and particularly with respect to my feelings about the trash collection. Someone said to me a long time ago when I was serving trash and roads, that's what people really care about, trash and roads. They want their trash picked up and they want their roads to be good. They care less about the tax rates being increased than they do about their trash and their roads. But I do just historically remember when we had privatization of the trash. That was some 20 years ago or so, I think, and right at the time we moved here, that did not work out well. So consider that what you don't control, you can't fix. And I'm just throwing this out here as your discussion. If we need to hire another person to make it work, because I do believe that the strains on the public works may have gotten really intense now, but to seriously consider if that would be one way to alleviate. And then the other thing that I don't envy you is you're having to deal with making them consistent with the recent sanitation ordinances and the bear problems, if that can all be worked out. And if it doesn't work, then what do you do? But anyway, again, thank you for your service. I don't envy you one bit.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else? Okay. Commissioners' communications. Anyone have any communications tonight? Anything you need to say?
You know, just picking up off of Mary's comments, one of the things that Savannah and I talked about during this discussion about sanitation pickup and contracting and such. I don't think there is an easy answer on this. If there was, we probably would have looked at it before. But, you know, maybe as she and I were talking, maybe one idea is just to start with a clean sheet of paper and say to Barry, if you could build your own system, what would that look like? And maybe he says CWS or some such system. We spend, what's that total budget? 2-something on just sanitation alone?
Over 250,000.
269,000. You know, that's a...
And the fee we charge is very small in comparison.
It is. But, you know, we're talking more than $250,000 here. Should we just give him a chance to redesign it?
Well, we're going to have a lot of discussions in the next couple of weeks. Maybe we need to do that, Tom. I'm not disagreeing with you. There is no easy answer to it. And anything we do is going to have problems. But we'll...
Any other communications from commissioners? Okay, we've got dates to remember. Land Care, there's no July meeting for Land Care. Town offices will be closed for July the 3rd. Bulk item white goods pickup July 7th. And that's on the curb. And what did you used to say, Letta Jean? When did the shopping begin? The day before? July Town Council meeting, Thursday, July the 9th, 6 o'clock. Forum meeting is at 5:30. Tree Board, Tuesday, July 14th, 2026, 9 a.m. to 11. Town Hall with Zoom options. Planning and Zoning Commission, Thursday, July the 16th, 2026, 10:30 a.m. to 12 noon. Town Hall with Zoom options. Board of Adjustment, Thursday, July the 23rd, 2026, 5 p.m. in Town Hall, Zoom options if needed. And then the filing for the 3 commissioner seats opens on July the 6th and closes on 17th at 12 noon. It opens at 8 a.m. on the 6th. I have a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel matter.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Blake. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Alexander. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? we're going to go into closed session. Hope we're out before